motion, right? We talked about last week of the Wuji pose. Balance is in pose. Breathing, balance, right? Balance is everything. Breathing is everything. Motion is all things, right? So no matter if you're defending yourself and you are working your balance, if you're not balanced within yourself and breathing motion, and we're going to talk about breathing motion because breathing motion is everything. Because even if I'm working my knife, right, and working my defensive mechanism, most of the times people think of martial arts as what are you fighting against? No, it's not what are you fighting against, it's what are you fighting for. Okay, and if you don't understand, and that's why we go through the healthy mind throughout the week, is understanding what we are fighting for. Today on We School is what we are putting into action and what we are doing it for. We're doing it for ourselves. No matter how you look at it, if you are not action in defense of yourself, you are lost within everything. If you have any questions, because I'm in the We School, I have a hard time. I'm not going to be able to answer your questions. So please put your questions into the comments and I'll answer them later. So in We School, when we are developing in the We School and in the balance and the preparation and the meditation, we are also defending against ourselves. So defending against ourselves, you see this with the knife. The knife is a defense mechanism against who? We still have to understand our mind. We still have to understand our purpose. We still have to understand our intention, right? So this will get into defensive action because defensive action, we are still working on meditation. Meditation's everything. So even though, like, if when we get into meditation and you see that the action is here, you have to, if you are not balanced, right, and you see me with the knife, you have to understand your balance. The balance is everything. So when you are defending yourself against anything, sickness, mental sickness, physical sickness, spiritual sickness, soulful sickness, when you pull it, you have to defend. Defend always, right? Defend always. So when I pull, I am controlling who. Me is the most important. Controlling who is important. Understanding where this is, where this could be, where it needs to be, where it has to be. That's balance. You know, martial arts has always thought about the fighting, but it's really about spiritual balance. It's about soulful balance. It's about mental balance. It's about physical balance. So once I get into pulling my mechanism, because this is all this is, whether it be a gun, whether it be a knife, whether it be your hands, whether it be your feet, this is about balance. So if I pull this and I am here and I am working my action, understanding where this balance, this action is, it's really understanding where this balance, this action is. So let's get past this. So when we were talking about Wuji pose, right? Wuji is balance. Wuji is mind. Wuji is spiritual. I am still formulating here in the We School. We School is going to be here every Saturday. So it's going to be here every Saturday. We're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about structure. Okay? So, because sometimes most of you people are asking me, well, how do you do? What do you do? And why do you do it? Healthy mind is you having the ability to move the physical form. This is the physical form. Okay, so Remember, understanding where your feet is, understanding where your hara is, your stomach, your lower dantian, your lower personal, your goal, because we're going to talk about breathing. Breathing is so important. Breathing is life. Breathing is everything. So if we are going to talk about your lower hara, your lower dantian, because you have three levels of functional body, right? Gates of hands. Hands, we have head, we have feet, we have a lower dantian, we have a lower abdominal pressure. Okay, we are working on our spinal structure from last week, understanding where our head is. We don't want to be bent over and things like that. We want to breathe, right, in through our nose, out through our mouth. There are, I personally know 60 forms of breathing techniques. I know of 200 breathing techniques. I know of 200 breathing techniques. 60 breathing techniques is what I teach and what I've studied and what I've come to so far. Why is there so many breathing techniques? Because we know that the breathing, the spinal cord, connects one hemisphere to the other hemisphere. That's important. That's important. Good morning, everyone. I know I have a hard time talking to you guys or answering your questions, but I just want to, I'll answer to you later, and we'll get to it later, and I will make sure I will answer all your questions. So if you have any questions on the We School of Balance and Structure and Breathing, please put in your comments, and I will answer them a little bit later today. So, as we're standing here, right, breathing, um, why don't I have the music? Because some of you couldn't hear me last week. Last week, the music was great. I love it. Maybe I'll get the music next week. But you guys couldn't hear me, understand me a little bit. So I said, well, let me put back the music. So, understanding the structure of your balance, understanding where your toes are aligned, right? If some of you can't see my toes, because of the camera angle, I apologize. Your head is balanced. I'll turn to the side here. When you're breathing, the tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. It's important because we're connecting the hemispheres of breathing action. The tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. When you breathe in, the thin tongue goes to the bottom of your mouth when you blow out. So breathing in, because we're creating a circulation of breath, right? Breath is everything. Breath is life. Breath is the beginning. And even I hope you guys wish my daughter, who is having a baby for the first time, we are waiting for the bated breath. Boom, boom. We're waiting for the bated breath of one of my granddaughters. This is gonna be another one of my granddaughters. We're truly excited. Being a grandfather, teaching the meditation mind, meditation of the physical is always so important to me, because this helps you defend and helps you protect. And if you don't understand protection, you don't understand life. If you don't understand life, then what is there is to protect? So, as you balance, watch out where your feet is. You don't want your feet more than the other. You don't want to be forward. You don't want to be back. Because we'll get into qigong, tai chi movements, where this is functional in defense, because all things in life starts with the breath. So if you don't, we're going to work on the breath. Breathing in, tongue goes up. Breathing out, tongue goes down. Spine is erect. Knees are structured, right? Knees and structure, meaning that knees are structured is that you're not standing erect, meaning knees are locked, and you have a slight bend to them. You're not bending forward because you want your spine to be vertical, right? Spine is vertical. Once your spine is vertical, because we know throughout the week in the healthy mind what the spine does, what the brain does. So now we're in action breath. So when we're standing in Wuxi pose, we know there's, once you get into balance, there's a circulation. Once you start breathing and actually formulate breath. What I mean is formulate breath is to do breath. People think breathing is an involuntary action. That means you're not involved in breathing. You're not involved in breath. You're not involved in the action of living. To be involved in the action of living, you produce breath. You produce breath. You contract abdominals. You expand abdominals. You expand breath. Breath is important. Breath is life, so be a part of the living. Again, thank you all for joining me. So we'll go right into, so we're going into the action of the people who are joining me. This is the We School. We School is every Saturday. We go into the action form of the healthy mind. So when we're here and you're breathing, make it auditory. The reason I'm staying to the side is so you can see how the spine has to be correct. Correct and erect, meaning vertical. It has to be vertical. You have to be balanced in your stance. Once you're balanced in your stance and you're breathing into the nose, out through the mouth. Make it auditory. Make it so you can hear yourself breathing. I always tell my students, if you're not breathing and you can't hear it, you are not breathing. Make it action. Make it functional, right? Because once we're breathing oxygen throughout the body. We're breathing oxygen throughout the organs. We're breathing oxygen throughout all of this system. Remember, your body is a system, right? My daughter's in the hospital. She is working on something right now. She's going through a situation, but oxygen is life. That's why when the baby is first born, and I have another daughter who's about ready to have her first baby any day now. She is still this baby Harmony, which is it's an amazing name because the daughter who's having the baby, her name is Hope. Okay, so please put your prayers in there and put your meditation and put your strength towards hope. But Harmony is coming, and her name represents balance. You know, we have hope, we have struggles, we have situations, but harmony will come. Harmony, and just, thinking about it, people struggle with harmony, right? People want harmony to be what it should be or could be, need to be, is. Harmony will be. Work on your technique, and harmony is, right? So, after you develop your structure of your head, where your head is, where your feet is, where your structure is, where your spine is, in through the nose, out through the mouth, tongue goes to the top of the roof, and then to the bottom as you blow out. Breathing in. You don't want to blow out, and breathing is so important. The reason why breathing is so important because you don't want to force breath. You don't want to force breath at all. So you don't want to formulate a mouth. You don't want to open or blow out like you're blowing through a coffee straw. But you do want to breathe in and let it push out, because remember, intentional breath is action breath. Intentional breath is action breath. If you do not have intentional breath, you don't have intentional action. So breathing, action of breath, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm going for, no matter what I am doing, I have intentional breath. Okay? So, breathing in, blowing out. Once you get understanding. So, Dr. Paul, I'm sure people are going to ask this because I've been asked this before. Do you always have intentional breath with intentional action with everything you do? Absolutely. And I'll put this into a generic term. When you are making love, whoa, when you are having functional action, making love, that means when you are connecting with an external self, you are within yourself, giving of yourself. Does that make sense? Okay? So when you are giving of yourself and making love with your partner, whoever it might be, we remember we're transmitters. And to be transmitting and to receiving, we receive through breath. Because if you hold your breath, it's tension. Once you have tension, it's constriction, right? So once you are activating your breath, you are releasing constriction in the body, in the form, in this vessel, in the mind. You're releasing that to the external. You are allowing it to flow in the internal. Why is why breath is so important? Why balance is so important? Balance begins with breath. Balance ends ego. Balance starts the process. Breathing through, those of you who've had children, seen the movie of children, breathe. The reason why you're breathing is so you release the constriction. Okay? So breathing is important. Breathing is about how you breathe. I know 60 techniques of breathing. I know of 200 techniques of breathing. I practice 60 techniques of breathing because breathing is functional between the action, right? So, right, if I was to breathe through this action of function, no matter what the function is, there's a breath technique, right? There is a lower dantian, lower hara, lower stomach of action of breath. These things are important. So once you get into the balance of the body, whether you're laying down or whether you're standing up, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, make sure at this time, one of the techniques I'm going to do is what you call balance breath. The abdominal expands as you breathe in, and the abdominal contracts. So as you breathe in, it goes this way. Blow out, it goes this way. Breathe in, it goes this way. Blow out, it goes this way. Breathing in, expands. Blow out, contracts. Breathe in, expands. Blow out, contracts. Motion is always so hard visually. Exercise, no matter what you see visually, it's about structure. Because if you don't know how to do a structure properly, the exercise doesn't work. And someone says, "Well, Dr. Paul, put out more structural videos," and I can't. It's reluctant to me, and the reason why I'm reluctant is because people want to do, people hear how to do, people read how to do, and still they do it wrong. How do I know? Because when they come to my class and I see them doing, whether the boxing, whether the exercises, whether they're not rotating and they're not breathing. They're holding their breath. And if you are not rotating and you're not breathing, then you are missing the complete action of life. It's working the physical form, maybe the muscle form, but you're not working the energetic form. So if you are throwing punches, you're doing exercises, you're doing jumping rope or snatching cleans, and you don't understand your breath, you're out of balance. And if you're out of balance, then what's out of balance? Mental, physical, spiritual, soulful, right? Blah, blah. So it goes on and on and on. So into the nose, out through the mouth. Balance of the spine, balance of the head, in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Once you get into breathing, once you get into relaxation breathing, into the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You allow your body to function and move. Once you get into intentional action of breath, intentional action of purpose of oxygen, intentional action of carbon, intentional action of hydrogen, remember your body's made of chemicals. And if you don't have intentional action, then you don't have intentional part of the brain. And that brain, remember, is a processor and producer. You are a transmitter and receiver. Breathing, action, breathing, action. Do not constrict your muscles so you don't restrict your life, okay? Make sure you're flexible. You don't walk around with locked knees. You don't stand with locked knees. You have functional standing, balance in standing, balance in how we move, balance in how we walk. Because once we start getting into actions of walking, this is why the martial artist, the martial scientist, works on movement. Because movement, if I am moving and I don't understand my movement, right? If I don't understand my movement and my breath, then this just becomes nothing but nothing. It becomes hurtful because no matter if something hits here, remember you're looking at this as a defensive action, and I don't know how to breathe. I don't know how to breathe because everything has function, everything is in motion, everything is about life. I hope this helps. Don't want to take up too much of your time. Remember, I'm Dr. Paul, Grandmaster Dyer. We schools on Saturday and the Healthy Minds Monday through Friday when we talk about the action of, right? The mental brain action of. Today, I just want to go over some physical form because people have asked me, what is the physical form about the healthy mind? The physical form is understanding still the mental form, understanding the spiritual form, understanding the soulful form, understanding all of it because remember, this is about balance. And as you practice your balance, you practice it walking up the stairs. You're practicing getting a can of soup. You practice, 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 practice training faith. Practice training faith. So, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Please share, like. If you have any questions, I'll go over again between physical form next Saturday in the Wee School. The Wee School. So don't hesitate. Be intentional with your breath. Be intentional with